All right, Shalom. This is Brother Gabar of the Lions Den Camp, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. And before I hop into this lesson, I want to give all praises to the Most High in their true Hebrew names and in the Paleo Hebrew tongue. So, Kal Halayim, like Yahweh, Bahashimi, Hawashah, Bahashim, Ha Rakako Dasha Ma'amaf. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS. Double honors to my elder as well, Aharawan. And Shalom to you, brothers and sisters, pushing and keeping this truth and faith and sincerity into the end, man. All right. So, this lesson is primarily coming out of the book of Bel and the Dragon, you know. And I just wanted to get a few key points, you know. So I'm gonna just hop right into it. And it's a Bell of the Dragon, chapter 1, starting at verse 3. And it says, Now the Babylons had an idol called Bel, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. All right, so they was worshiping this idol, man, made of clay and brass, a god made with hands, man, a false god, an idol, you know. And it says, and they were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of flying flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. So they was bringing all this substance, man, to this false idol on a daily basis, man. All right. And it says, and the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own God, Yahweh Shemi Hawashah. And the king said unto him, Why doest thou not worship Baal? Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who have created the heavens and the earth and have sovereignty over all flesh. All right, and we in that same spirit today, that hopeful elect, and those that sincerely believe on Yahweh Shemi Hawashah, man, we choosing to stand with the one true living God, Yahweh Shemi Hawashah, Salakia, the one true living power, man. And it says, who have created the heavens and the earth and have sovereignty over all flesh. And I looked up the definition of sovereignty, man, and it says supreme power or authority. All right, because Yahweh Shemi Hawashah is the only power on the earth, man. All these other false idols and gods and things, man, is all vain. Is literally nothing, man, compared to Yahweh Shemi Hawashah. You know, just like Bel and the dragon is about to be proved to be nothing, man, in this book. All right, and it says. Then said the king unto him, Thinkest thou not that Bel is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? All right, and this shows like the foolishness of this king, because he thinking this dang statue made of clay and brass is eating all the fine flour and the 40 sheep and the 6 vessels of wine on a daily basis, man. It shows you the foolishness of this king. And it's also show you the foolishness of 2/3 along with these other nations today, man, that they really believe and have faith in these false idols and these false gods, man. And it says, then Daniel smiled, man. Daniel was chilling, man. He smiled in the face of this. Or he says, then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. So the king was wroth and called for his priests and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. But if ye can certify me that Baal devoureth them, then Daniel shall die. For ye have spoken blasphemy against Baal. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. Man, so even in the face of being threatened of death, Daniel, he was smiling, man. And then he said, let it be according to thy word, because he was walking in true and sincere faith, man, within Yahweh Shemi Hawashah, man, because he knew he was serving the one true living power on the earth who reigns in sovereignty, man, a supreme power and authority. He was not sweating, man. He knew that the Lord would not forsake him, man. He knew that his God, our God, Yahweh Shemi Hawashah, would reign true over these false idols, man. All right. And it says, I'm gonna jump to verse 11. All right, and it says, so Baal's priest said, Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine, and shut the door fast and seal it with thy own signet. And tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Baal had eaten up all, we will suffer death, or else Daniel, that speaketh falsely against us. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a privy entrance, whereby they enter in continually and consume those things, man. All right, so these priests of Baal, man, it says, and they little regarded it, because they knew they had that secret entrance into the chamber, man. They thinking, hey, man, we're gonna sneak in here, eat this food. It's gonna be all good. Then you're gonna die tomorrow. We're gonna be seen as Bel is gonna be seen as a living God, a living power, man. They were chilling in their wickedness, man, and in their lies and in their deceit. All right. And I'm jump to verse 14. And it says, so when they were going forth, the king set meats before Bel. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed. All right, so Daniel was wise. He was smart. He knew that this was a false god, man. A false idol. Having that faith and belief in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right. So he was smart, man. He scattered ashes all over the floor of this so-called temple, man, temple of Bel. All right, because he knew people was sneaking in and consuming the food and the drink. All right, so he scattered ashes all throughout the floor, and you'll see why. In verse 15, it says, now in the night came the priests with their wives and children, as they were wont to do, and did eat and drink up all, man. All right. So just like he knew they would, they came in, they snuck in through that privy entrance. Those priests and their wives and their children, they consumed all of that food and that wine and all that substance that they brought forth to Bel, making it seem like it was a dang statue, this false idol that was consuming these things, man. All right. And I'm gonna jump to verse 18, and it says, and that's I'll start at verse 16. In the morning betime the king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, yeah, O king, they be whole. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, great art thou, O Bel, and with thee is no deceit at all. All right. So again, it's showing the foolishness of this king, man. He truly believed that this statue made by the hands of men was consuming all of these substances, consuming all of this meat and wine and bread and so on and so forth, man. All right. In verse 19, it says, Then laughed Daniel and held the king that he should not go in, and said, behold, now the pavement, and mark well whose footsteps are these. All right, man. Daniel was laughing, man, at the foolishness of this king and his him being deceived, man, and the sheer foolishness of thinking this dang idol was consuming these things, man, having that faith and faith and security within Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. All right. And it says, and the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And then the king was angry, man. All right. He felt played. All right. It says, and then the king was angry and took the priests with their wives and children, who showed him the privy doors where they came in, and consumed such things as were upon the table. Therefore the king slew them and delivered Bel into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple, man. All right. And I mainly wanted to get this story, man, because we in that same spirit as Daniel. We doing that same thing as Daniel and these modern day times, but spiritually, we are destroying these idols and these false gods spiritually through the words and the wisdom and the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and the knowledge and wisdom of these scriptures. All right, we tearing down these strongholds, man, and these false idols and these false gods and these things that plague our people's minds, man. We showing that they are all. We showing them that it's nothing but idols and things made by men, and through that we showing the power of the one true living God, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, or again who reigns in sovereignty, meaning supreme power and authority. All right, we in that same spirit doing the same thing that Daniel was doing, man. All right, but again, spiritually tearing down those spiritual strongholds in the minds and hearts of our people. All right. I'm going to jump to verse 23, and it says, and in that same place there was a great dragon which they of Babylon worship. All right, so not only did they have one idol and false god that they was worshiping, they had another one, and it, man, all right. So like it, I'm a and just to stay on the point, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, But I'm gonna just jump down to verse 28. It says, but the point being, Daniel destroyed the second idol as well, the dragon, man. All right, and in verse 28, it picks up and it says, when they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, the king is become a Jew, and he have destroyed Baal, he have slain the dragon, and put the priest to death, man. All right, so these people, these Babylonians was, man, angry and wroth, you know, that they idols have been proven to be, nothing, man. You know, all right. And it says, so they came to the king and said, deliver us Daniel, or else we will destroy thee and thy house. Now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them, who cast him into the lion's den, where he was 6 days. And in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which then were not given to them, to the intent that they might devour Daniel, man. All right. So, man, this king saw, that his idols and the gods that he worshiped were fake, man. Through Daniel proving and showing that, that he was being deceived by his priests and his servants, man. All right. And he said, but because his people was about to kill him, for destroying those idols, man, seeing that true power of Yahweh Bashim Hawashah Salakia, man, he cast Daniel into the lion's den to preserve himself. All right. And it says, and in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which then were not given to them, to the intent that they might devour Daniel, man. So long story short, those lions were being starved, man. They were not being fed, so with the intent that they might devour Daniel, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you throw a person in front of a pack of hungry lions, naturally they're going to consume him, man. All right, but watch how the Lord preserve Daniel, man. All right, and it says, it's like, come on, and just stand on the point, and going to verse 38, it says, and Daniel said, and this was after the angel of the Lord, had commanded Habakkuk to go and deliver food unto Daniel in the lion's den, man. And it's funny because the angel, man, transported him in a flash of an eye into Babylon and into the lion's den of Dan, and to where Daniel was, man, the lion's den. So also in this chapter, it shows you a glimpse of the power of the angels, man, through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right. But just staying on the point, I'm gonna hop down to verse 38, so you can read the story yourself, man, and do your due diligence. All right. So verse 38, it says, and Daniel said, thou hast remembered me, O God, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately, man. All right. So verse 38, and Daniel said, thou hast remembered me, O Lord, O God, Salakia, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee, man. All right, so we gotta we gotta be in that same spirit, in these times and in these days to come. Remembering this story that the Lord has never forsaken, those that sincerely believe on him, man, and faith in his sincerity. All right, and those that diligently seek him and love thee, man. And to love is to be in order, doing those things that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua requires of you. All right, it says, thou hast remembered me, O God. So when all hell breaking loose in this place and we in that spiritual lion's den of persecution and tribulation, man, we got to remember that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua will not forget us or forsake us, man, just like Daniel. All right, it says, so Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. And again, showing, the power of the holy angels through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Man, they put Habakkuk back in his place immediately, man, to where they brought him from. In a blink of an eye, he was back where he came. All right. And it says, upon the 7th day, the king went to bewail Daniel. And when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting, man. Man, this king went to bewail Daniel, man. He went to grieve him. He was expecting him to be dead. He was expecting him to be devoured. All right. And it says, and when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. So throughout this whole story, man, Daniel was chilling, man. He smiled. He smiled at the king's foolishness. He laughed at the threat of death. He said, "Let it be according to thy word." He was stable in his spirit, man, because he had the knowledge and wisdom and faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. It's man, imagine sitting amongst 7 hungry lions, with no worry or no fear, because Yahweh Hashem Yahushua got your back, and just apply that into these days, and these days to come, meaning, within Jacob's trouble, man. When we facing persecution and tribulation and all hell from all sides, man, and Esau coming down with a great wrath, we gonna be in that same spirit as Daniel, man, with that stable spirit, that stable and sound mind, because the scripture tell you knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, man, and having that faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua shall keep us stable, man. All right. And the Lord did not give us the spirit of fear. Daniel was not fearful, man. And how many of us could say, hey, we getting thrown into a lion's den with 7 hungry lions, you're not going to feel some fear, So that, man, his faith within Yahweh Hashem Yahushua was solid. All right. And it says, I'm going to get verse 40 again. Upon the 7th day, the king went to bewail Daniel. And when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then cried the king with a loud voice, saying, Great art, Lord God of Daniel, and there is none other beside thee, man. All right, man. So this heathen king, man, with a loud voice, gave honor to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man, our God, the God of our nation. The children of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, and it says, Great art, Lord God of Daniel, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and there is none other beside thee, man. All right, because again, going back into that previous verse, it says, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua reigns in sovereignty, man, supreme power and authority. He is the only power on the earth, man. All right, he's the only authority on the earth. All right, and in another sense, like relating to these days and these times, man, when we are preserved and saved up out of this Yahweh Ratzah, I'm in that number. Man, these other nations, along with 2/3 of our people, are going to see that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man, is the only God, the only power, the only authority on the earth, man. All right, and they're going to be just like this king. All right, and it says, verse 42, and he drew him out and cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before his face, man. All right, so I believe he was in. And Daniel has where he was. So Daniel was in that lion's den for 6 days, man, with 7 hungry lions, and the Lord preserved him. All right. But his last verse 42, it says, and he drew him out and cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before his face, man. So the Lord preserved Daniel, a believer of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man, for 6 days among 7 hungry lions. All right. But in a moment, those that caused him to be in there were devoured, man, in a moment. All right. Man, that's what faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua can get you, man. Being preserved, being taken care of, having them angels camped around about thee. Man. And it's just a good story to remember, man, for now and these days to come, man, when all hell break loose in this place and we in that spiritual lion's den, man. The Lord is not going to forget us. He is not going to forsake us. Those that sincerely believe on Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and is doing the work in the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. The Lord is not going to forget us or forsake us, man. He shall preserve us. All right. And this is the book of 2 Corinthians. Chapter 5 and verse 7, simple and straight to the point. And it says, for we walk by faith and not by sight. And I just wanted to get this because throughout this whole story, man, Daniel was walking by faith, and not by sight. Having the threat of death above his head, being thrown in that lion's den. If you were walking by sight, that would be a fearful thing, man, and it may cause you to lose faith and lose hope. But Daniel was walking by faith, man, because he knew the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua would not forsake him, man. All right. And I wanted to get one more to end it off. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 10. All right. And it says, look at the generations of old and see, Did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him, man? All right, and that's why the scriptures tell you that blessed is he that readeth, man. Because through these scriptures, man, we able to look at the generations of old, man. We able to look at, brothers and prophets like Daniel, all right, and see that, his trust in the Lord, his faith in the Lord, it caused him not to be confounded, man, or forsaken, by the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. And it says, or whom did he ever despise that called upon him, man? All right. And having those true names, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, and believing on them in faith and sincerity is truly a treasure, man. I'm going to get that again. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? And whom did he ever despise that called upon him, man? All right. So the Lord is not going to forsake that hopeful elect, man. Those that sincerely believe on that name and are doing the work in the will of our Father, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. All right. And the scripture tell you things written aforetime are written for our learning, man. So that's why it's important to read so you understand these stories, man. And it builds your faith and it builds your confidence and it builds just your wisdom and knowledge and brings you closer in knowing who Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah is, man. Like we literally got the supreme power and authority on the earth in our corner, man. So what do we have to fear, man? And I wanted to do this lesson because it was a faith booster for me, man. I would suggest reading Bell and the Dragon. I know many brothers have already, but if you haven't, I would suggest reading it, man, because it truly is a faith booster. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah will not forsake, that hopeful elect, those that sincerely believe on his name and are calling on his name, all right, and are doing the work in the will of our Father, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. Come on, man. With that, I'm going to say Shalom.